of so many people missing. We have to take a little break from review, at least at the beginning of today, and I want to talk about what's going to happen with the exam. Hopefully you have been reading your email and following your email. I don't think that I really have any more information than you do, but if I think back 30 years to when I was in your shoes, I would not have read those emails. I would have waited for a teacher to tell me. So I feel like I should be the teacher I needed back then. Oh, good, Cindy's here. Oops, and somebody else. Oh, and Vivian, excellent. So we got everybody coming in. And let me fix my attendance here. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes and we're going to go through what seems to me to be the important things. And then I think that Ms. Littlefield is going to have everybody come next week to a Zoom, everybody who's taking an AP class, and go through some more things as well. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to put that down there. And so this is what I got in the email, which is kind of this overview. And I believe that you will get it or have access to it. And so you should look at this as well. So we're going to talk about a couple important things that you need to look at. So the first thing is your AP exam e-ticket. If you don't have this e-ticket, you cannot take the exam. I believe that you will get your e-ticket, so it'll come in your email, and it says right there about 2 days before each exam. So I believe that our exam is on Tuesday, the 12th, right? Or is it on Monday? I get confused because I have exams both days. One day is physics and one day is calc, okay? So you will get it 2 days before. Catherine, do you have an answer for me? No? Oh, it's okay. It'll actually be in the presentation, all right? But that means that over the weekend, you should get your ticket. And it's going to have your name on it, and it's going to have your AP ID, which is something that you're going to need to know, and it's going to tell you when your exam is, okay? And then about 30 minutes before the exam, you can click on the yellow button and get into the exam. If it doesn't come in your email, you can also get it through myapp.collegeboard.org. So it's really important that you make sure that the College Board has your right email, that you are getting emails from the College Board, and it's all that you are in communication with them. This is your e-ticket, not anybody else's, okay? And save your ticket in case something goes wrong and you need to take the makeup exam. Here are when all the tests are. So yes, the APCalc test is on Tuesday. So you should get your information, therefore, on Sunday at some point. You should get your e-ticket. Make sure you are taking your test when you are supposed to be taking your test. Mrs. Littlefield can help you figure that out. Okay, but everybody in the whole world is taking it at the same time. So our test is what is Tuesday in Buffalo, okay, whatever that ends up being in China. That's different. Everybody's taking it at the same time. It won't be any more difficult to get a 3, 4, or 5. I think what is most important here is this part here about not answering all of the questions. Oh, good, Susan's here. You may not be able to answer all of the questions. You will not have enough time to answer all of the questions or all the parts of the questions, but you don't have to answer all of the questions to still get a 5. Okay, but the most important thing is that you make sure that you submit whatever it is that you did. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a couple slides. All right, so keep going, keep working. Remember that these exam questions are designed to challenge you in different ways, because you will be able to have, as we'll talk about in a minute, you'll be able to have all of your notes and your books and reference tables and all those things. So they have to ask you questions that make you think. So if you start something and you kind of feel like maybe it's going to work, keep pushing through. If you read the problem and you have no idea what to do in this part, go to the next part, okay? So hang on. And that's what we talked about there. So there are 3 ways that you can submit your questions, okay? There will be a space where you can cut and paste your response in. I don't think that's really going to work for us, because most likely you're going to be drawing things, writing things, okay? Writing out solutions and equations and all that jazz. So if there's, for your other exams, you can either like type into a Word doc or a Google Doc, cut and paste it in. You can attach it. And I think what we're going to end up having to do is this option over here, where you're going to have pieces of paper. You're going to write out your answers, and then you're going to have to take pictures of those answers and upload them. So that might mean that what you're going to need to do is make sure you've logged into your e-ticket through your phone, okay? Because you're only going to have like 5 minutes to upload everything. So you don't want to have to be taking a picture, emailing it to yourself, opening your emailing, downloading the picture, and uploading it on your laptops. Helen's laughing at me, but you know that could take more than 5 minutes, okay? So think that through. So again, we're not really going to talk about that. I think that you're going to end up going with option 3 here. You can only attach 5 pictures, okay? Which means that whatever answers you write have to be in 5 pages, okay? Please make sure, as it says here, that you write your AP ID and your initials and a page number at the top of each page. That is something you should have all set before the exam starts. Okay, you should have 5 pieces of paper. They can be lined or unlined. It's up to you, whatever you feel more comfortable with. And make sure you have a spare in case something goes wrong. All right, but make sure that you've got your AP ID and your initials, not your name, because people will be grading these and they're not supposed to know who you are. Okay. Make sure you write clearly. Make sure you use a dark pen, blue or black, or a pencil so that it's going to show up. You might want to practice a little bit, you know, write out some equations, solve some example problems on a piece of paper, take your phone and take a picture of it, look at the picture so that you know where the lighting in your house is the best. Okay, try to do it at the time of day that you will take the exam. All right, I know I can't do that in my dining room. The lighting is just weird and I always end up with a shadow. Okay, but other places are better for pictures. So just make sure that you think all these things through. Okay, and then you will submit, you'll attach the pictures and submit. But if you don't submit the pictures, you won't get credit. Okay, they can't give you credit for things that you don't have. So make sure you figure out how you're going to log in. Make sure that you know what time it is, because there's going to be a timer. So make sure that your phone isn't going to go to sleep. Okay. We do not care about music theory or world language exams. They're wonderful. Nobody has accommodations as far as I know. You can only request a makeup exam if you have technical difficulties. Okay, and that needs to happen within 48 hours. If you have technical difficulties, the first thing you should do is contact Mrs. Littlefield immediately, okay? And she'll know what to do to help you get through to be able to take the makeup exam. There'll be instructions. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So the 5 things you should do before the exam. Again, number 1 over here, make sure that you and the AP are checking the same email. Choose your device, make sure everything's all set up. Number 3, starting Monday, you can actually do an AP exam demo, which I highly recommend that you do. We may do one in class. Let me see. We are all together in the morning on Monday. So we may even take a couple of minutes on Monday so that everybody can try to do the practice, okay? Which just helps you log in and make sure that you've seen all of the steps, okay? Make sure that you have printed everything that you need to print. Make sure that you have the paper with your name or with your AP ID and your initials and everything all set. And then make sure that you get your ticket in the email, okay? And if it's not, remember that you can access it through your account on the College Board website, okay? So that's that. We talked about all those things. We talked about practicing, which we will do. So remember that when you show up, you need the email with your e-ticket in it. You need your exam checklist, and actually I have a checklist here that we can talk about. So they suggest that you print this out for every exam. So you're all taking APCalc of one kind or another, but some of you are taking AP Physics with me. You may have other AP exams. They want you to print one out for each exam. Make sure you write your number here, write down which exam it is so that you know which one to look at, putting in the date and time, and then you can go through. Is your device plugged in? Are you going to run out of power halfway through like I did at the end of class the other day? Make sure you know that you have all of the materials that you need. Remember, there's some things here, and I believe you can access this, but some things here that you need to do. Don't refresh your browser, okay? So once you go to that site and start the exam, don't click back, don't click refresh, okay? If it accidentally closes for some reason, you can use your e-ticket to get back in, okay? We're not taking world language exams. Make sure that you have logged in. I'm sorry. So after the exam, after you've uploaded everything, they're going to have your grades by June 20th, which is a good 3 weeks earlier, 4 weeks earlier than usual.
Is this going to count as one of our 5 pictures?
What?
Like, do we have to take a picture of the first part of the checklist?
No.
Okay.
Not as far as I know. No, this is just for you, so that you have everything that you need and you have thought of everything that they can think of for you to think about before you sit down, okay? So no, I do not believe you have to turn in that checklist. What you need for the exam, you probably want this keyboarding tip sheet. If somebody finds that, I will put that on my list of things to look for today. So that in case you choose to type things in, you have that. You can have your calculator. You don't need your calculator, but you can have it, especially if it makes you feel better. Okay. I think if we go up here, permitted for all tests are your class notes, whatever kind of study guides you make, your textbook, any kind of other assignments or reviews or tests or anything that you have taken. Okay, so you can have all of those things. I didn't go over this in AP Physics, so I just want to talk about AP Physics for a minute. You need the AP Physics table of information and formulas. Okay, again, I will try to look for those things. You should look for those things too. But you should have that before you go into the exam. And again, for AP Physics, you can use your calculator. You should not need it, but if it makes you feel better, keep it. The rest of the exams are here. These are all things. Internet searches are a waste of your time, totally. I want to talk just for a minute about the resources and the cheat sheets, and I don't mean that in a cheating way, the review sheets, the summary sheets that you're going to let yourself have. I would say this on every open book test that you will ever take for your entire life. Don't think that you don't have to study. Don't think that you don't need to know what the sine of 90 is, or that the derivative of cosine is negative sine. If you have to look up every little thing that you need, you will never finish in time. Okay, so my advice on any kind of an open notebook assessment is pretend it's not. Memorize the things that you need. Take the things that you're afraid that you're not going to remember and put them all in one spot. Sticky notes are your friend, okay? And put them all in one place. And then if you're sitting there and you're panicking because you can't remember what the derivative of tangent is, you know exactly where to go. But you know, tangent is a little weird. You should know what the derivative of x squared is, okay? You should know what the fundamental theorem of calculus is. You want to keep all those things as much in your head as possible. Number one, because you're not going to have enough time to look them all up. Number two, because the more things that you can keep in your head, the more connections your brain is going to make. So that when you start to read a problem, and this is what should happen, is when you start to read a problem, different parts of calculus, different chapters should start zooming through your brain. Appropriate things should start zooming through your brain so that you can make connections and be able to solve the problem. So that will happen if you work on learning things and remembering them. Okay? That's my advice. It's been my advice forever. It will always be my advice. So I think that that's pretty much it. If you look here, you can, if you go to this website, download your own AP checklist. So if you want to write that down, cb.org/AP checklist. If you can't get to that website for whatever reason, shoot me an email, and it's a PDF file, so I am sure I can email it to you, and I will do that if you need it. Okay, everybody got that website written down? And there's probably other important information there. Check in 30 minutes before your exam starts. Exam day, again, you want to check in early. You are taking a 2-question exam for both AP Physics and APCalc. So make sure you check in. You have 25 minutes to answer question 1, 5 minutes to upload it, 15 minutes to answer question 2, and 5 minutes to upload that. The last time I checked the College Board, which granted has been probably almost a week now, they still had no more specific information about APCalc other than it would be 2 problems that would use techniques and concepts from different kinds of chapters, okay? So again, it's important to have everything in the top of your head.
Dr. Getz?
Yes.
I just have a question about the time standard. So once question 1 goes away, we can't go back to it?
That is correct. Once you are done with question 1, you cannot go back to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So again, just make sure that you have your 5 pieces of paper with your ID and your initials on it that are numbered 1 through 5. You need 2 sets of those, one set for question 1, one set for question 2. Make sure you have your plan and you've practiced what you're going to take a picture of, how you're going to upload it, okay? Have that all planned out in your head. Music theory and world languages are wonderful.
Do we get 5 pages per question, you said?
You can only upload 5 images.
Per entire exam?
No, per question.
Okay.
Okay, I believe, let's look, but I believe, it doesn't say that, but I believe that's what I read earlier, okay, is that you can attach up to 5 things per submission, okay?
Dr. Gatz, I don't know if you can answer this, but that timeline there is 50 minutes long instead of 45?
I've lost it. It's because of, well, probably no. Hang on. I'm trying to get back to where we were. Because of the 5 minutes, I don't understand why that's a problem for you, Julia.
Oh, I just didn't know, like, I thought it was only 45 minutes long, so I wasn't sure if the 45 minutes end and then we have the 5 minutes to...
No. It's exactly what it says here. You have 20, this is consistent with everything that I've read.
Okay.
That you have 25 minutes to answer question 1, like 5 minutes to upload it. You get question 2, you have 15 minutes to answer question 2, you're done. Like the timer will go off and then you have 5 minutes to upload it. So it's like 40 minutes of questioning divided into 2 unequal pieces and then 2 5-minute periods to submit your answer. Okay. And like Lauren said, you can't go back to question 1 after the 25 minutes is up. All you can do is upload. Okay.
Speaking of uploading, I don't know if I missed this part, but where exactly do we upload it to? I know we take a picture, but do we email it somewhere or?
No, well, no, you're not going to email it. I can tell you that for sure. We will be able to look on Monday and we'll take a couple minutes in class on Monday. But when you go to the website to check in, so remember you're going to have your ticket and your email, and there's going to be that yellow button. When you click on there, there will be a mechanism at the end of question 1 when the timer goes off that will allow you to upload.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to upload it right through whatever web page you are on.
Okay, so you're not stuck in the lockdown browser anymore?
I think it's going to lock down to a new place. I mean, it's going to take you when the
yeah.
I'm making it up, but what I'm imagining, okay, is you're going to click on your e-ticket, you're going to be in the browser, whatever time it is for us, 2 o'clock, I think, in Buffalo, whatever time that's going to be, okay, wherever you are, that screen will change and it will have question 1. You will either write your answer on paper, which again, I would imagine is going to be the right way to do this, or you're going to do it in something on your computer like a Google Doc or a Word doc. And then when the 25-minute countdown is up, I'm guessing that something else is either going to appear on that page, something is going to become active on that page, or it's going to take you to a different page where you're going to be able to upload something. So for instance, when I write you guys letters of recommendation and there's a website, there's always a part at the bottom of the website that says click here to upload your letter. And I'm guessing it's going to be something like that. Or when you attach things to an email, you're going to click on a button and it's going to open up a window where you can choose things from your computer.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Thank you.
And then, you know, it'll probably attach them each individually, and then it'll say, are you sure these are the things that you want? What I don't know, and which will be interesting, is how you should name those files. So that might be a question for Ms. Littlefield. naming files. Let me write that down. Okay. And then it'll be like, and then it'll ask you, are you sure this is what you want to upload? And you're going to click yes. And then the screen will do the equivalent of go blank. And you'll be in a holding pattern. You'll just be waiting. And then at the half an hour mark, because you've spent 25 minutes answering, 5 minutes submitting. So at the half an hour mark, question 2 will appear. You'll have your 15 minutes. And then again, the screen will change so that you can submit. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And hopefully we will be able, that'll be part of what they'll show us when you try to do the practice on Monday. Okay. And if we can't do it Monday, we'll try to do it another day next week. All right. And again, I'm making that up, but oh, look, there's even stuff here, checking into your exam, put your stuff in. So you would put your ID in, you would click continue. You'd click continue. There's going to be a countdown clock. Oh, see, look, there you go. There's an example of somebody's stuff, somebody's answers. There will be a countdown timer. There'll be a countdown timer for submitting your work. See, look, there you go. Attach files, browse for files, okay, or attach photos. So they will prompt you to do those things and you can upload as many as you want. And it looks like they just have random things. I'm not really sure. Let's look back here for a sec. Okay. It didn't really talk about what you should name it. We will try to look at that. Okay.
So do you think that we should log in on our phones then, so we can take pictures of our pages?
Let's see what happens on Monday. My first reaction would be yes, because then the pictures would be right there in your phone and you wouldn't have to transfer them from one place to another. My concern with that is how well you're going to be able to read the questions on your phone. So I'm actually going to write down website versus phone on my list, and I will ask Ms. Littlefield about that as well. And then let's see what it looks like on Monday. Okay? But you need to have in your head how you're going to get those pictures to where they need to go, and you've only got 5 minutes. Okay? If you finish in 23 minutes, you could start taking pictures. And if you have to email them to yourself and download and all that jazz or whatever, but don't stop answering the questions before you're finished, just so that you can start futzing with the technology. Okay? All right, I'm not going to worry about exam scores, credit, and placement because we'll just deal with that. All right, so remember to get the AP, whatever it's called again. Whoa! Anyway, remember to get the AP checklist, that's what it's called, the AP checklist ready for yourself. And if you can't get that for whatever reason, shoot me an email and I'm sure I can send you the PDF so that you can print it and be ready. Make sure you think about how you are going to answer the questions. And make sure you think about how you are going to upload things. okay? You still have a week and a half to figure out everything that you want to do, and we will try to do the practice next week, and you will be able to do the practice next week on your own, even if you can't do it with me, okay? I am going to stop sharing for a moment. Are there any other questions that I can make up answers to? That's what I do. I make up answers to stuff. Okay, Susan popped in, so she is not really absent. Okay. All right, so we still have like 15 minutes, so I'm going to share my screen again. Although this time I am going to give you the answers to yesterday's homework. So why don't you check that, and then we'll go from there. All right, are there questions on this one?
Can we go over B and C?
Sure. My advice on part A, not that anybody asked, but I'm going to share it anyway because that's my job, is again to make sure that you read the question carefully, because I did a whole bunch of extra work to fill in answers for a whole bunch of points that I didn't have to draw slope fields for. So just, you know, caution, read the question and make sure you're answering what it asks for. All right, so Part B says let f of x be a particular solution to the given differential equation with an initial condition that f of 2 is equal to 3. And then write an equation for the line tangent to the graph of y equals f of x at x equals 2. Okay, so tangent line. We need two things. What are the two things we need to write the equation of any kind of line?
Slope and y-intercept.
We need the slope and the y-intercept. Well, actually, we need a whole point, okay? So, or y-intercept would work, but we could also use point slope. So there's my point, okay? And what's the fancy calculus word for slope?
Derivative.
Derivative, okay? And I know what the derivative is because they tell me. So I've got dy dx is equal to y squared over x minus 1. And I am interested in evaluating this so that I can find the slope at my point. And my point is 2, 3. So I'm just going to substitute in x equals 2, y equals 3. So that gives me 3 squared over 2 minus 1, or a slope of 9. And then I've got my point slope equation. Y minus y1 is m times x minus x1. And we sub in. So I've got y minus 3 is equal to 9 times x minus 2. or y is equal to 9x minus 15. Does that sound right? 9 times negative 2 is negative 18, but plus 3 would give me 15, negative 15. Okay? So that's the first part, is to find the equation to that tangent line. And then part of the whole idea of slope field and some things that we did with differential equations is that sometimes I can take that slope field, I can take that tangent line, and for points very near this one, I can say, well, the value I can get off of my tangent line is close enough to what the real value is if I plugged it into the curve. So that's why they want you to find y of 2.1, because that's really close to x equals 2. So this is going to be 9 times 2.1 minus 15, and that gave me 3.9. And so that's why what this problem says is that I'm approximating f of 2.1 as y of 2.1, where y refers to the equation of the tangent line. If I get too far away from 2, this approximation doesn't work anymore. And I need to take a different point, come up with a new slope, a new equation for the tangent line, and use that to estimate. Okay, we good with part B? All right, then let's look at part C, which says find the particular solution to y equals f of x to the differential equation with, again, this is my initial condition. So I know that f of 2 is going to be equal to 3, and my equation is dy dx is equal to y squared over x minus 1. And we said that solving the differential equation and finding the general solution and then a particular solution was one of the things you might be asked to do. And when you do that, you get first of all, you take your differential equation and you reorganize it so that you get all of your y's on the same side as dy and all of your x's on the same side as dx. So this is going to give me dy over y squared is equal to dx over x minus 1. And then my next step is to integrate both sides. But I'm pretty sure that there are a handful of you out there who integrated the left side, the dy side, and said that that was the natural log of y squared. If nobody did that, yes, because it's wrong. Okay, so you want to remember that this is y to the negative 2 dy. I only turn something into a natural log when I'm taking the integral if it's a power of 1 in the denominator. Okay, so I'm going to integrate both sides. So on the left side, I'm going to get y to the negative 1 divided by negative 1 using my inverse power rule. On the right side, or the dx side, it's going to be natural log. So it's going to be the natural log of x minus 1 plus c. So this is really going to be negative 1 over y is the natural log of x minus 1 plus c. And I chose to just leave it this way and solve for c like this. So I'm going to use my point up here. F of 2 is equal to 3. So that means wherever I have a y, I'm going to put in a 3, and wherever I have an x, I'm going to put in a 2. So remember that this is going to now be the natural log of 1. And what's the natural log of 1 equal to?
0.
0. Okay, so it's important. That's one of those things where if you have to take the time to plug that into your calculator every time, that's going to be annoying. So this whole term is going to go away, and that tells me that c is equal to negative a third. So I'm going to go back over here, and that gives me negative 1 over y is going to be the natural log of x minus 1 minus 1/3. Now the problem actually says to find the particular solution y equals f of x. So I'm going to have to solve this for y. So I'm going to multiply through by negative 1. So I get 1 over y is going to be 1/3 minus the natural log of x minus 1. And then I just flipped it so that I get y is 1 over 1/3 minus the natural log of x minus 1. You could probably get fancy. You could probably do a bunch more algebra, but you're also more likely to make a mistake. So I would keep it simple. You're in a testing situation. It is tense, even though you should all know what you're doing. It's still tense. Okay. Are we good then? Any other questions? Okay, then I'm going to say that your homework for tonight is to print the AP checklists that you need and to print the AP, what was it called? The typing hints, typing keyboard tips, okay? And that is all that your homework is to kind of look at things. Hang on, Jacqueline, I see your hand, is to look at things and get ready for the AP exam. Tomorrow we will continue type 6 problems, but you don't have any actual calculus problems homework. Jacqueline, what's up?
What if we don't have access to a printer?
Then you should email Mrs. Littlefield and me. And Mrs. Littlefield, she already said that anybody who doesn't have access to a printer to let her know and let her know what you need to print. And she will find a way to get you the stuff that you need. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
And especially if you do that today, she can probably like stick it in snail mail. You'll get it next week. If you have one of those houses where you're not allowed to touch your mail for 3 days, there are people like that. You should still have time to do all of that. We're probably not going to be able to get it to China, so I hope you guys have printers. But locally, we can probably make that happen. But please contact her today, Jacqueline, okay?
Thank you.
Sure. Anything else?
Question to clarify the math question that we just did.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference between B and C in finding the equation is that part B, it just says find the equation to the tangent line.
Mm-hmm.
Because C is the particular solution, so that's where you take the integral and separate the variables.
I would look at it like this. So I'm going to guess that I don't know. Let's say that f of x does something like this, okay? So part C is, I want you to find the equation of that, okay? So this is part C, okay? Part B is for this point right here, which is 2, 3, right? Yes. Find the equation to the tangent line.
Oh, okay.
And then go over here a little bit and estimate what the value would be, what the y value would be for an x value of 2.1.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Okay?
Yeah.
Good
Thank
question. Good thing to clarify. All right, anything else about AP exams, about the homework for today, about what we went over today? Anything? Okay, great. Then I will see you tomorrow. Relax, take the evening off, and we'll get back to work tomorrow.